Hi everyone, meet Lina Khoeur. Hi. So Lina is here to talk about about her journey. She's a medical student, first year, right?
Soon to be second year.
She's soon to be second year. So can you tell us how you got here?
To America? Or?
No, how to get to become a medical student.
I think that a lot of it comes from passion and care. I grew up around a lot of Khmer folks as well as like other folks from under-resourced spaces who didn't have a lot of access to healthcare.
Yep.
And saw the ways that trauma impacted folks, as well as how like resilience and well-being could really make a difference in people's lives through community, as well as through like one-on-one care. I used to work as an MA at a clinic in Fresno. And
What is an MA?
Oh yes, I worked as a medical assistant.
Okay.
In Fresno, and there were a lot of Khmer folks there.
Okay.
And so when I was able to speak with, especially like all the like Yay and Tan in Khmer, I feel like I felt a barrier drop. Even if I didn't understand everything, just being able to know that someone was really listening to them and that they were able to communicate in a language and space that felt good to them was really powerful. So yeah, then I went to college and did a human biology degree and then a master's in community health and prevention research, and I applied to medical school, which is a really difficult process, I think, because it requires you to like get judgment from other people and be like, I did all this work, like please think it's enough, which is really hard. But it definitely taught me a lot about self-confidence and being like, it doesn't matter what they think, I will either get it or I won't, and I value myself, and that is enough.
So how did you do in middle school? High school. How did you prepare yourself in high school to get to college?
I feel like I did a lot of things that I enjoyed, honestly. I wasn't super thinking about what it would mean for me to get into college to do those things, but I did know that putting your heart into things that really matter and like making an actually doing work in those spaces is better than doing a lot of things.
What did you do?
I was in choir. I was in a cappella jazz choir as well as choir.
Okay.
I did Science Olympiad, which was really fun because it was like, it's better for me. It was better than Science Fair because Science Fair you do a project by yourself and present it, whereas with Science Olympiad you get to work with a team of people to like build really cool like engineering models and stuff for like study anatomy. I studied birds, which was really fun.
I've never heard of Science Olympia in high school.
Yeah.
Is this something new or?
I'm not sure if it's new. I don't know that every school does it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely throughout California.
Okay. So I know that we're here today because to celebrate the success of the release of our Cambodian detainee. So obviously some of us didn't make it, right? So what got you through high school?
I think a lot of it was like the willpower of my parents.
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted to go to college and I wanted to do something in the health field. That definitely kind of shifted for me once I got into college, but I knew that I wanted to get there, and I think both of my parents were refugees from Cambodia. And my dad was a doctor in Cambodia and his license didn't transfer when he came to the US. And so when he had me, he was like, oh, I can't go back to medical school, like I need to like make money, I need to support my family. And so for me, part of it is definitely like recognizing the work that my parents put in and the sacrifices my parents made, and that's definitely influenced me because it reminds me of how much they love me and how much they want me to grow. And part of it was just that I knew I wanted to help people on an individual basis. I wanted to see people grow and change and be able to be a part of that process. I was excited for what college would bring, honestly. I didn't know that much about college.
Did you want to go to medical school when you were in high school? Were you thinking about it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a brief quarter and a half my junior year of college when I was like, am I going to go to medical school or will I just become a community organizer who works on a farm? But now I'm here.
Yeah. So you went to college. What college did you go to?
I went to Stanford.
You went to Stanford. So Stanford is a very tough college to get in, right?
Yes.
So how did you prepare? And what made you get into Stanford?
Yeah, I think I had a lot of support and a lot, like this huge belief support system where everyone around me was like, you can totally do it.
It is in high school, right?
Yes.
Is this a Cambodian community or your teacher's community?
I think both. Like,
both? Okay.
The people that I would support when I was a medical assistant were like, oh, like, we're so excited for you to be a doctor so you can take care of us.
So you were a medical assistant when you were in high school?
Yeah, and a little bit after high school.
Oh, okay. So that's where you get your support. Okay.
Yeah, and from my parents, definitely they pushed me and were like, did you apply to these places? Like, how are you doing? And we're like, we're going to do like whatever we can to do to help you get there. And I also like saw a lot of support from my high school, so like talked to academic counselors who helped me figure out like, this is when you need to take your SAT, this is when you need to take your ACT, here are like some of the resources that you can use, and like read over my personal statements and stuff like that.
So counselor really play a big role for you. Okay.
And also my calculus teacher in high school, not for the math portion, but she was a really amazing teacher who I connected with, and I actually ended up being a TA or a teacher's assistant for her my senior year. And she was just really dedicated to like supporting students' growth in whatever ways they were interested in. Yeah, I think she was a huge impact.
So how did you discover her? I know that she's your teacher, but you have other teacher, but why her?
Yeah.
Why your calculus teacher? What's special about her?
I took classes with her and I feel like she like really made an effort to get to know students. Like she would like have conversations with people that weren't just related to math.
Okay.
Which was really nice. Like she ended up being a science Olympiad coach as well, which was really cool. And eventually, like, we just developed like a really meaningful mentorship where like we would get Starbucks and just like she would like talk about like different things I could get involved in or different spaces I should be in. Helped me look over my personal statement and stuff as well. Wrote my letter of rec.
Was it because you were in the Science Olympia, or is it because you were just like anyone?
I think it was before Science Olympia. Yeah. She just like was somebody who I really appreciated her teaching style, and like started talking to randomly. I think.
So I'm just curious for like someone's new, for the next generation, for example, because mentor is crucial, right?
Yeah.
So if someone's looking for a mentor in high school, how would one go about searching for one?
Yeah, I think that there are a couple of different kinds of mentors, I think. In that some mentors may be like if you're interested in science, some mentors may be in the science field, and so then talking to them about their experience and getting their insight on how to actually get into that field is really helpful. But I've also had, in college, I didn't really have any science mentors. My mentors were the director of the Asian American Activities Center and a professor in comparative literature, which I am decidedly not interested in. But they were people who were really willing to just get to know me as a person and like be on my side and like ready to bat for me. And just like knowing that there are people who believed in me, I think was super important. Even if they weren't necessarily the ones who were able to open those doors. Giving me the strength to open them myself or crack them.
So there were like SAT tests, ACT tests in high school. Stanford definitely is a difficult school to get in. So how did you prepare for that?
I know some people take like classes. I didn't take any of those just because they were really expensive, and I think for my studying style, I was okay just going through prep books. So I think I went through like, it's been many years now, like Kaplan or something. I went through like maybe like one SAT prep book and like one ACT prep book. I took a couple of practice tests. I think for me, practice tests are the most helpful thing. Just to know what it's like and to know how to pace yourself, because unless you've taken AP tests, I think that the SAT and the ACT are like 4-hour tests, which are very different from like the finals you might take when you're in a class. So just being able to pace yourself and know like to have the endurance and to know what it's going to feel like at hour 3 was really, really important. Because like sometimes you might know everything, but if you're tired by the middle, it can be really hard to like power through the rest.
How many times did you take those tests?
I think I took the SAT twice. I took the ACT once.
And for Stanford, they take the highest, right?
I think you can submit whichever one is the highest, but it could be different now.
Oh, okay.
I submitted my ACT.
So what got you to Stanford is, definitely academic, and you have other activities, right? So you went 2 different activities?
I did a lot.
You did a lot?
I was on the tennis team. So I played tennis. I was in marching band. I did choir. I was a mathlete, so I was on the math team. Although I don't think I'm very good. I think I just like kind of went wherever I felt interested and engaged. Definitely didn't like put all of my heart and soul into like everything the same amount. I was really involved in tennis, was really involved in Science Olympiad, and was like in these other spaces too.
So how did you have time for all of that?
I ask myself that now because I'm so tired.
But that was something that you were passionate about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I think it's hard because not everything, especially in school, like not every subject you love. But I tried to either like find people that I love to study with, or like tried to be like find teachers I really liked working with, or like try to find something in the material that I was interested in working with, so like I could motivate myself to be engaged in it in one way or another, whether it was like studying with friends who I really like enjoyed spending time with, and this was a way to do it and not feel like dread.
So in your case, your father was a doctor. Could that make any difference?
In terms of
helping you prepare for college?
I think so.
Yeah?
I mean, he definitely, I think he had gone through a very similar process, and every time he talks to me, he's like, it was so much more competitive in Cambodia, which it was, to be fair.
Okay.
But I think he just, he really instilled in me that, it's hard,
but you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it, and I believe in you so much. And if it doesn't work out the first time, that's okay. We'll reassess and go again. Which I think is really helpful in the context of also being kind to yourself.
So at Stanford, how did you get through Stanford?
It's hard. I think even at Stanford, which is a relatively small school compared to UC Berkeley or other big colleges, it can be really hard to find your space and really I feel like there's so much pressure to talk to your chem professor or be the top in all of these classes. And I think that just wasn't a space that worked for me. So I found my people, and my people ended up being through the Stanford Asian American Activism Committee. It ended up being through all of the organizing I did when I was at Stanford. I found my 2 best friends actually out of Harmonics, which is an indie and alternative rock a cappella group I was in. Yeah, I think just like, again, finding that support system, because it can be really hard. Especially in like, for pre-med, there are huge classes with like hundreds of students in them. Those are not the places where I found like my support and people who were like gonna root for me and people I could talk to and cry with and do all these things with. And that was okay. Like, I was able to get through those classes. Definitely didn't do as well in some of those classes as I would have liked, but I'm here now. It's okay if you don't like organic chemistry. I did not either.
So basically just find a support system. That's all you need basically to get through. Even high school, you have that as well. Okay, and college, it's even at Stanford, sounds like a mentor support system.
And I think also just doing the things that make you happy, even if they don't seem like they're in your trajectory. Like, I wouldn't recommend this, but I wasn't in a pre-medical association. I like didn't do a ton of research because like that wasn't what was exciting to me. What was exciting to me was like organizing with their community or like organizing with our staff workers. I worked on the Stanford farm for a year, which was really nice. I grew up in Fresno, so I was around farming all the time. My dad grows everything in our backyard. And being away from that space for me, the first 3 years that I was in college, I think made a really big impact on my mental health. And so the last year, when I was able to just go to the farm again and like put my hands in the soil, even though it doesn't seem like quite related to the field of medicine, just like allowed me to feel healthy. And it's actually something I'm like interested in doing moving forward, is like thinking about how farm health and the health of the earth relates to human health. And like food justice. So it all comes full circle.
So after your bachelor, you go for a master. Why? What happened?
My dad also was like, you can get a master's while you're at it. But I really wanted to gain some more practical skills. Because I think that human biology like gave me a good basis of knowledge, but I wasn't quite sure yet how to utilize that knowledge. And so I got a master's in community health and prevention research.
Was that also in Stanford?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is it part of the bachelor? It's all a bachelor and a master, or all separate program?
I applied for the master's separately.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it was just helpful because I had this framework from my organizing as well as from my education of all of the different issues that people face. And then the master's program helped me really think about, like, now that I have the privilege of like having this academic access to these spaces, how can I put this to use for a community? And so the master's for me gave me the skills to think about how to ethically engage with community and like build long-term relationships that would like bring people the data that they needed for like advocacy around different policy, like especially for API folks.
What is this program called again? This must
it's CHIPPER, Community Health and Prevention Research.
Okay.
So I did my thesis on the connection between eating disorder and gender dysphoria in trans kids, with the underlining thought being that we should provide trans folks the appropriate care that they need because it's affecting their health in all of these other ways too.
Okay, so then you apply to medical school right away?
Yes.
Okay.
That was.
But you always wanted to go to medical school, right?
Yes.
It's just that you need that master program to prepare you for something that you want to learn. Okay. So describe the process.
Like different from college applications, medical school applications open in June, which is important to know because I didn't know that. So I took my MCAT, which is similar to preparation for the SAT and ACT. It's definitely a lot more preparation. It's an 8-hour exam as opposed to 4 hours, and encompasses, I think, more specific knowledge. So I did that. I wrote my personal statement many, many, many times and had 4 people look over it.
Wow. Who were these people?
One of them was my best friend, who's still best friends.
Oh, okay.
Now. She is, she's working at a law center in Oakland. And my partner at the time, as well as my 2 mentors from the Asian American Activities Center and the comparative literature professor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so did that. I got my letters of rec, which were also not from science professors. I had one person who I'd done research with who I got a letter of rec from, and then my other 2 letters of rec were from my 2 mentors in college, and then 2 doctors I had worked with.
So you're required to have 3 letter of recommendation?
At least 3.
At least 3.
Some can ask for up to 10 if you have them, but
okay. The minimum of 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ideally, one of them should be from a professor in the science field, but I think for me, the medical application process is based on a lot of values that I didn't really agree with in terms of they just want you to have like science letters, even though it's really hard to actually build a relationship because there's like 300 students trying to all get one letter from this person. And so my thought process was, you don't actually know me. Like I want letters from people who actually can speak to who I am as a person and the work that I did. Which I think maybe took me out of the running for some medical schools right away.
How many did you apply?
I applied to 22.
Out of state too?
Yeah, which is normal.
For 22 medical
Some people apply to only 1, but those are brave people. Yeah.
Don't you have to pay a fee for each one as well?
You do. You can get a waiver if you, through FAFSA, you can get a waiver for I think the first 20 schools you apply to.
Okay. What is the fee?
I think it's 95 for the first one.
Okay.
And then 75 and then 50. It might have changed.
Okay. And the rest is all 50?
Yeah, I think so. So it's definitely it's definitely something you have to save money for. And I worked as a TA to save money for applications because the MCAT costs money. Submitting your primaries costs money, and then submitting your secondaries.
What is primary?
The primary is the first application, where you send in your letters of rec, you send in your personal statement, you send in all of your work and activities that you've done. It's kind of
to 22 different schools. Oh, okay.
And then the secondaries are when each school reads your primaries, and then they send you a set of questions that's specific to each school, and then you have to write like 3 to 5 500-word essays for each school. And also pay them anywhere from $80 to $100.
Wow.
So it's definitely an investment. But it was helpful in that I was able to look into schools and be like, oh, I actually don't want to put in the effort to do the secondary for this school. So that doesn't bode well for me wanting to go to that school.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research on the schools I was applying to too. I looked, for me, social justice and having a patient-centered focus was really important, and research was less important to me. So I looked in all of the mission statements for each of the med schools' web pages to see if they had any kind of commitment to social justice or any mention of responsibility to the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many did you get accepted?
I interviewed for 3. Oh yes, that's the other thing you have to pay for is you have to fly out to interviews.
Oh.
And usually the schools have housing where you can stay with a current medical student, but otherwise you also have to pay for a hotel.
Oh, okay.
Which is expensive.
Okay.
I interviewed for 3 and I got into 3.
Okay. You chose basically to interview for 3. Okay. So how did you make your decision?
I think for me it wasn't super hard. I was deciding between UC San Diego and UCSF. And
what's the third one?
UC Davis.
UC Davis. Okay.
And San Diego is where my partner used to live. They're moved in with me now. and it was just a different space and location. They had a really strong social justice lens as well, because they're so close to the border, and we're working a lot of deportation work, which was really exciting to me. And all the students I met there were really cool and like very warm, and really, I think, had similar values and thought processes as me. And it was also gonna be like next to the ocean, which is nice. And then UCSF is the Bay Area, which is like, I've been involved with Asian Prisoner Support Committee, which is in Oakland, and API Equality in Northern California, which is in SF. And it's kind of where my political home was. And so my decision ended up being like, do I want to be in my political home where it's like much more expensive to live, or do I want to be in this new space, which is warmer, like doing a lot of deportation work as well, and like closer to my partner. I ended up choosing UCSF because I think, again, like the support systems felt really important to me, and being able to stay connected to organizations and communities outside of the medical school bubble felt like they were going to be really important to me and my health, and have been really important to me and my health. So now I'm here, and I really love it. I love my class. It's, I think, the biggest group of people or biggest community that I've ever been in, where I feel like I could actually get lunch with anybody in our class and feel happy and excited too.
Wow. So how about financial responsibility?
Yes. I'm on student loans now. I think that for me,
what is the fee? What's the tuition fee, including?
UC's tuition is actually very reasonable. I think this upcoming quarter I'm paying, I think it's like $11,000 for tuition. The cost of living is quite high in San Francisco, but I am, to break it down, I'm paying $875 for rent plus utilities, which is like not super bad in San Francisco.
Is this part of the school support system?
Somewhat. So they have a cost of living supplement, which is an extra $2,500 per year if you apply and you get it, and most people do. And then I'm also getting university grants, and doing work this summer where I'm getting paid and hoping to like use some of that for the cost. I think though that in medicine, the cost is an immediate concern, but in the long run not, because doctors end up making so much money that there's usually not a lot of financial stress once you're out of medical school. Like, I think that there should be way more support for like nursing programs and social worker programs, because they do such important work and often get paid a lot less.
So 11,000 per year or per semester?
Per quarter.
Per quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a quarter system.
And then,
so per year you're paying about 40, 50,000?
Yeah, including housing.
Including housing.
And food and stuff. And they definitely have really strong support systems for food security.
Okay. So out of 4 years, so it's a 4-year system, right? So if the loans are at roughly about 200K, fair?
Yeah.
It's about 200K?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So
it's stressful to think about, but loan forgiveness is real when you work in a county hospital.
So that's not too bad, actually, and it's not too bad.
Yeah,
giving
even like if you're in surgery, like definitely not going to be something you're worried about. But even if you're a family practice doctor, still like very manageable.
Yeah. So speaking of that, what is your concentration? What do you want to focus on?
Currently, I'm interested in emergency medicine and palliative care.
Why is that?
I think that emergency medicine is like a really important space of care in the sense that a lot of people show up to emergency medicine when they don't have any other form of primary care. So we see a lot more folks who are undocumented, a lot more folks who don't have insurance, and people who are in really important critical moments of their lives. And I think I really love the ability to take things slowly and calmly in spaces of urgency, and really sit with people. because I think that it's a really important time where people need to feel supported and held. Both people who are in the ED as well as like family members. And that feels like a really important space that I want to be in. And then palliative care is end of life care. So I think that unfortunately we see a lot of people who end up not making it out of the ED. And so I think being able to really have those discussions about what does life mean to you and what makes life worth living, and like how do you want to be supported, even if you walk out of here being able to think about, wow, like this was a really critical moment, and I want to reflect on it and think about what matters to me and what are the values I want to have moving forward with my life.
Talk about classes. You said, classes are nice, are fun. Are those as difficult as your bachelor degree, master degree, or high school from your perspective?
I think they are more difficult and easier. They're more difficult in the sense that there's a lot of content. So like I learned everything I'm going to learn about the heart in my didactic or like book reading years in 1 month. But it's all so interesting to me because I mean like this is the first time really where I'm learning how to care for patients, and I'm learning the skills that I want to use for the rest of my life in a way that like learning about basic biology or like going through all those calculus and statistics classes didn't really have that same connection. But now we're learning about how do you manage heart failure or like how do you suture or like how do you address an allergic reaction, and those things feel really applicable, which is really exciting because now when people come to me and they're like, oh, like I have like people show me rashes, people are telling me about their grandparents. I don't know all of it, but I know some of it, and that's really exciting to feel like I'm that much closer to really being able to help patients.
So again, it's all passion, right?
Yeah,
it's all of it.
You have to love it because it is. It's a hard journey, and I think that growing up, like I feel like there's so much pressure to be engineer, doctor, lawyer, Wall Street, and those are like the 4 jobs that people have access to. But there's so many other ways to be in the world and to do the things you want to do through other mechanisms that I think I never really had exposure to when I was younger. And so for me, like even being in the medical field and like going into what I want to be as a doctor, that looks super different than what I thought it would. Like I am hoping to be in emergency, but also hoping to do like wilderness medicine and like be communicating with folks on the farm and hopefully like be working on a farm as well, and like really thinking about the health of the soil, the health of the earth, the health of the workers on the farm.
So would your dad have anything to do with your decision to become a doctor?
Oh, totally.
Totally?
I think that it's really hard to split those things apart, right? Because I feel like he gave up so much of his life for me, and that's a huge amount of responsibility I think I hold. And I struggled with it for a long time because I struggled with like, do I want to be a doctor because I want to be a doctor, or do I want to be a doctor because I feel this responsibility towards my dad, and my dad like wants me to
become a doctor.
My dad said he would be happy if I did anything that like allowed me to like live my life successfully, but is happy I'm a doctor. But I think that I don't ever think I'm going to be able to split those two apart, and that's okay for me. I think I know, like I know that it has played an influence in my life, and it's not the only thing that's influencing me to be in this space, and that's okay. Like
it sounds like you found your passion.
Yeah. And I think I've made my peace with the struggle of like, do I want to do this, or is it my dad who wants me to do this? And like it's okay that both are true.
Okay. So for the next generations who want to become a doctor, what would you tell them?
I would say It's definitely not easy, but it's getting easier. There are really, hopefully I will be a mentor to folks. But I think that people are really rooting for you. Like there's this whole community of clients out here today. All of whom are really just like rooting for us to succeed and thrive and be happy and healthy. I would also say I think that there seems to be like a really strict path to medicine, and it feels like you have to check every box off that list in order to be prepared for medicine. And that's really not true. I think that something my dad told me and both my parents told me was like, oh, you can like do these hobbies later. They're not directly related to your education. You'll like have time for them later. And I think that to some extent that may be helpful if it's causing like mental health issues or it's stressing you out too much. But I also think that you can stay busy for your whole life if you want to. And you just have to make time for the things that keep you happy and keep you healthy, even if they're not on that path. And I think that if there are things, if there's like so many things on this path that you don't like doing, I feel like it's indicative of the path. I'm trying to change the way medicine works, and so trying to think about how to do that and not do things that I don't like just for the sake of feeling like I have to please someone else.
So define your own terms, basically, in your path, in your passion. So you're all about passion. I can see that through you, which is incredible because that's what's going to keep us going. It's keep us happy, keep us alive, feeling fulfilling, right?
Yeah, totally.
All right. Anything else?
I think I was talking to someone else recently about just like he asked me what the biggest question I was facing was, and what my answers were to that biggest question. And I think for me the question is like how to engage authentically wherever I am. And my answers are to try really hard and be kind to yourself. Which I think if you do that will get you really far. To always try your best and remember to really think about yourself and be kind and sustainable.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing all these interviews.
Thank you.